back to New Dexter. Who dis? This is Michelle. Marsh?
Yep. Ref Marsh. Who dis? Flying on in, taking a stab at episode 2.
Episode 2 of Original Sin is Kid in a Candy Store. So,
I like candy. I like stores. I don't like kids. But I got a feeling they're going to find a way to make it interesting.
All right, let's check it out.
You ready to check it out?
Yep. Let's do it.
You just want to dive right in?
Dive right in.
All right. Head first. Let's do it.
So at this point, because we know that Dexter was adopted when the mom was still alive, the stepmom was still alive, right? Because he has an affair with the mom.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to, get the timing in my head right, you know? Stepmom's not dead yet. Yeah. Why does everyone in the show throw everything away?
They throw away everything. They're so wasteful.
This is the most wasteful show ever.
Dexter didn't even grab one fucking carrot stick even.
Well, he put something, you know? I think he had one carrot stick, and then... Let me get that for you. What the fuck, guys? We just talked about how there's a big homeless population here, guys.
At the restaurant, Dexter ordered 2 sandwiches, so they made 2 fake sandwiches.
Yes.
And they brought him another 2 sandwiches.
So funny.
With sides.
Stupid.
God. What's she looking for? What's she snooping around for?
Okay, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out. Pause it. Get the fuck out.
You think the mic got
Pause it. Get out of here. Shoo.
Bad baby. It's true and kind of funny when you mention it. Yeah. The idea that she was always snooping around.
She was always doing that to him.
So to have Deb snooping around here too.
She finds the earrings. She doesn't know what the fuck she's looking at.
They look like hoops. I hope she wears them. Oh my god! Imagine next thing we see her, she's wearing them.
Maybe.
So
she doesn't know what the fuck she's found. For all she knows, it's a crush. You know?
Or a gift for her already or some shit.
Maybe. Who knows? She's searching for something she doesn't know what she's looking for, you know?
Yeah, she gotta get her head out her asshole.
Yep. Look.
This guy's amazing with his facial expressions and
Oh,
voice for Batista.
Yep. It's a great Batista.
That he could have possibly imagined.
What makes you think he got killed instead of suicide?
Because he was at the picture they just showed.
Yeah.
Even was they showed him the picture they showed of Renee dead at the thing. He was holding flowers. He was there to drop off flowers and got shot.
Oh.
And it went down. He wasn't. See?
Okay.
How is he supposed to hold the flowers and the gun at the same time? Hot mic! Hot mic!
All right.
Here we go! Hot mic!
Yeah, the actor playing Batista is fantastic.
He's incredible. How do you find this guy? The second that guy walked in, I'm sure they looked at each other like, oh my god, a younger Batista exists already. We just have one here, so let's do that.
Yeah. I like the development of the Dark Passenger, of the story, like you said, the story within the story, kind of.
Yeah.
How you've got this mysterious kid that's been abducted who is someone that's kind of tying the pieces together of, him as a part of the homicide department, but also him feeding the urge to try and figure out this other mystery of
well, we're seeing him also
Renee.
start to really so we know that Harry's been teaching him through high school and stuff on things to do to the code, right? He's been teaching him the code this whole time. Well, now we're seeing Dexter get to a point where he's feeling the code in a different way, right? So he saw the finger, and that was the drive. I wanted to kill whoever did that. It wasn't just I wanted to kill.
Right.
He wants to kill,
With
but the
purpose.
desire to do it is they're coupled.
Yeah. Yeah, and Deb just being Deb is pretty cool too. Her finding the earrings and not realizing what she's looking at, right? For all she knows, those could have been her mom's earrings that that Dexter had hidden.
Yeah.
She has no idea. She pawns them.
Especially because it was hidden. It easily could have been mom's.
Right. And the fact that she didn't address, I was thinking she was going to address that with Dexter directly.
What are these? Yeah.
And the fact that she's just like, no, fuck you, Dexter, and just goes and tries to pawn them.
And then not only does she not pawn them, she just gives them away. Her friends are like, I want them.
Just flippantly, right? Whatever, fuck Dex.
But yeah.
It's kind of the thought I'm getting.
Exactly. It's this fuck Dex thing where, like you said, they're hidden earrings. She doesn't give a shit why he was hiding earrings. Like, she doesn't know and would not assume that they're a murder trophy.
Not. Yeah.
But you'd think she would know and assume it would have some sort of sentimental thing. How much stuff does Dexter hide?
Well,
is he the type to hide shit in general?
But it's that resentment bubbling up of the father-son dynamic that she just doesn't have. And like she said, she doesn't have her mom around, so there's no one that she can vent to except her best friend.
Who's acting out,
strangely has a crush on Dex now. But it is cool to see this younger Dexter just kind of like develop in different social aspects too. Like instead of bringing the plate of vegetables, now he's bringing the donuts. Like he's kind of like just witnessing that like trial and error of like, all right, what's working, what's making you fit in, what's not, what's making you stand out.
And he specifically addressed that in the first episode, right?
First episode.
He was maybe blending in won't be so hard. And when you think about the first run of Dexter, he was constantly about like, I can't do this to fit in, or I need to do this to fit in. Like, that was always...
He has these really precise rules that now he's without, and he's developing that and trying to, figure it out as he goes. And it's really cool.
It's also funny because I feel like that they're even picking up on things from the first show that you only pick up on it in hindsight. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like the idea that they're opening up with him spinning around in his chair. Mm-hmm. There was a moment where you saw, like, I forgot all about how he spun in his chair. Mm-hmm. But you're fucking right, he did. Yeah. And what a fun way to just have that start. I'll just take my new place for a spin. Yep. And there he is being innocently, murderously autistic in some way. But, like, they keep doing and saying things that make you go, oh shit, they did do that in the other one. You know what I mean? Like, it's making me make the connections in a way that's not hand-holding either. Yeah. They're just presenting him with it. This is just the show. Yep. And then I'm being jarred loose on it, which is cool.
Yeah. I like the flashbacks to Miss Mosley, right? To Harry developing that relationship and getting close, and you see young Dexter with his mom and his brother, nearby, and you're kind of like, oh, okay, yeah. And she really does look like the mom. It's kind of spot on to me, but I do like that development, just that flashback where you're like, oh yeah, no, she was a real person. Yeah. This is kind of, how he was really introduced to Harry in a sense. Although I do think that young baby Dexter should have been a little bit younger, but that's just me being picky.
I feel like the very first time we see Dexter being born in blood, he's very, very small.
I felt like he was like 4. He was...
I feel like in the very first one, I feel like he was almost like 2 or 3, like barely old enough to walk, kind of small.
Like I thought he was like 3 or 4, not... Yeah. I was surprised that they made him so much older.
Yeah, this makes him look like he's 10 or 11, and so, like, you would have way more memories.
You would have a lot of memories, right.
And that was the whole thing. He was born in blood because his first memory was that thing, because he was supposed to be so young that it was his first memory.
And that is just us being picky, but I do feel like this show...
Yes, but we're allowed to be picky, goddammit! That's what we're here for!
I will say that I do feel like this series, is very much for the fans, the longtime fans, versus...
This does not feel like you could start your Dexter journey with this. This feels like you would immediately need to go back.
And I do feel like with, New Blood, I felt like that was something that, hey, you could be a new fan, pick it up, understand this more or less the story, and go back and, go back to original Dexter. Whereas this one, I feel like there's so many little nuggets and there's so much that you're assumed to know already that this is for, like, I feel like the seasoned fan, which I appreciate. Like, I still love it, personally.
But that's a really cool thing to think about too. Like, all the warm and fuzzies we get while we're watching the show, all the little nuances, the little things, the callbacks, they're exciting for us because we've seen the show so many times. But at the end of the day, like, if you're seeing it for the first time, and then you go back and watch the old one, you go, oh, they did bring that into the new one. How cute, right? It suddenly becomes a cute thing and not like an engaging thing. So it's kind of, it is a little interesting, a little weird, like you said. Like, at the same time, well, no, I guess it'd be way different. But I'm thinking, like, I never watched Big Bang Theory and Young Sheldon to any degree. But I wonder if anybody's all like, oh, one is better before the other versus, or if there is any disconnect. Yeah. This is a little off, different.
Right, it's a little off topic, but just in general, shows.
Yeah. Because I think about, like Vampire Diaries and Originals. Yeah. And then they even had the follow-up of, it's not Legacies. Yeah, Legacies.
Right.
Those were also in such a way where you could probably watch the originals and not watch Vampire Diaries and be fine.
But
you could not watch Legacies without watching both originals and Vampire Diaries and be fine. And I don't know, it's just a dynamic. It's just an interesting thing. But in this one specifically, it feels like if someone's like, I just watched the first couple episodes of Original Sin, I would be really hard pressed not to tell that same friend, you gotta go back and watch the entire other stuff before you really focus on this.
Yeah, this one just feels so in tune with who their audience is, and like I appreciate that.
Who their audience is as already established. Like, you definitely want to bring in new fans, and they definitely will, and all that. But I do feel like there's a lot more we're getting out of it because we've watched the first series 100 times.
And I think, that probably is also the reason why, the true fans had to really search for this one to figure out how the hell to watch it, first off.
Well, in a way. It was out there. But also in fairness, like, look, let's be honest. We're idiots on the internet. We're idiots with a podcast. We're dummies on a YouTube, maybe. I don't know where I'm putting this yet. Who knows where this show ends up, right? So we are, by definition, already a hardcore level of fan beyond most fans. Most fans don't hear a new show's coming out and going, we need a hot mic. Oh my God, Dexter's back. Plug in a mic and let us talk about it. To who? I don't care.
Who knows?
Anyone or everyone or no one. Doesn't matter, but I have to. Like, we're already a level above most fandoms, right? Or most levels of just fan
casual viewers, I would say.
So, in that regard, if anyone is listening, I just say this with a predication of originally when we did the first one, the director heard an episode or more and made a comment, which was amazing.
Shocking.
Right? Shocking, amazing, and like, dude, I thought you'd have something else to do with your time, but I'm so grateful that you chose to spend some on me.
Yeah.
But that's only to say that, like, when we critique or say, hey, Dexter looks old as hell in that one, it's not out of any... You don't do a podcast if you don't already love the thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's just to lay that out, that we do know that sometimes you don't know who's watching, you don't know who's listening. Yeah. We've done a bunch of wrestling podcasts where all of a sudden one of the wrestlers we're talking about is in the chat and it's verifiably actually them. And you go, okay... People are everywhere all the time.
Somehow, it reaches people sometimes.
You just don't know. And so with this one, if anybody is listening who was a part of the show and says that we were harsh on something, it only comes from a pure point of passionately loving the product that you're putting out already. Right. And it's the end of the day, we can't just tell you everything's perfect.
Yeah, and there's going to obviously be some things that we're a little picky on, but obviously we're still watching the show. We're going to continue to watch the show because we're fans and we want to see where this is going, because we also know that next year we got a whole new series that is super exciting. So my God, I'm so stoked. They have to do this arc like so perfectly to encapsulate just this development of him becoming the serial killer that we know he is, and where that leads in Resurrection.
What I'm going to be interested in too is, because I noticed in episode 2, A Kid in a Candy Store, it feels like I'm watching the actor who's portraying Dexter Morgan perfect his impression of Michael C. Hall, because I feel like his voice in episode 2 was way closer to Michael C. Hall than it was in episode 1.
The first one, right.
So I'm hoping by like 3 and 4 we start hearing it and go like, this dude is just fucking doing an impression for the full thing. Which, in fairness, like, so maybe to us that sounds like outrageous. He's doing an impression the whole thing. At the end of the day, like, look at Hugh Laurie in House. He was doing an American accent the whole time, right?
Right. Yeah.
Housemaids, the girl in there does not have that voice either.
Yeah.
The guy in there doesn't have that voice either. So, like, you're just putting on a voice, which is, like, maybe the most basic thing you can do as an actor. I'm just saying I'm blown away by the likeness and ability to carry off the voice at the same time.
And I would say all of these actors are really giving it their best go at, like, the little things, the small things that each of these characters have, right? Like the Deb, her eyes and her, just the way her lips move and her sarcastic tone. And I mean, I love her just being the teenager Deb. You know, this is what Deb would be like, you know, and a Dex, like,
in the first 2 seasons of Deb, she acts like a teenager anyway, so it's like, can we crank that up a little bit?
Yeah.
And this girl does.
Yeah, like, I think all of these actors are really, like, pinpointing these small facial characteristics and attitudes, and to that point, he really is honing in on, like, Michael C. Hall of, like, how would a young Dexter be? A little bit aloof, not maybe as calculating as we know him to be, but he's getting to that point, right?
And that's the exciting part. And to be honest, I'm glad you keyed in on that, because we're seeing him a lot more giddy and aloof because he hasn't gotten himself into some shit. And what we're about to see, we're seeing it plotted out.
Yep.
Those earrings are going to come back. And that's going to be the thing that makes him wake the fuck up and go, oh, I need to be careful.
And, like you said a little earlier, like that murder, the first murder that he had, right? That nurse is going, yes, she was chopped up by, you know, by nature, by the alligator alley, but that's going to come back.
You also saw that he killed her different than he's killed anyone else that we've seen so far, right? He stabbed her in the side.
Yes.
A couple of times, and he was trying to cover his face, and he had a hard time because of the blood, so we know that he doesn't have the mask yet, which we know is coming, and we know at some point he's going to go right to the heart.
He tried to pull his hood up and cover himself.
He pulled the strings, but that still got blood on his face, and you know it, right?
Yep.
Like, they showed the blood splattering on him, so I'm really fascinated and curious how they're going to work in the idea of him perfecting the motions and stuff. Because, he didn't stab her in the heart like he does later.
Right.
Because, he starts to do it slowly where he's looking at him.
He's,
digging in there. This one, the first kill, which we should have talked about in last episode, but fuck it. Here we are. He's stabbing her on the side, which is so atypical of a Dexter. And obviously, it's his first kill. It's not going to be perfect. He always said it was a mess.
Yep.
But we didn't see it be a mess yet, right? We saw him be clunky.
He was clunky at attacking her.
And he feels confident that it's clean, right? So we haven't seen yet that this story still needs to fall apart in front of our eyes.
Yes.
For us to understand why he believes it to be a mess. And I think we're going to see a shift in Dexter at that point.
Yeah, we're going to definitely see a shift of his adaptation. Like, what makes Dexter Dexter is just his ability to adapt to any situation, right? Anything that could possibly go wrong, he has a plan B, C, and D.
Yeah,
and
how do I clean it up? Right,
and with this one, it's really like, how does a fresh Dex, who doesn't have any sort of backstory, plans in the works, how does he really, like, act in the moment?
Yeah.
And so it's really going to be cool to just see how he keeps himself calm and collected.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm super excited about it. I'm loving it so far. Each episode, at a certain point, like, there's almost ones where you almost want to say, like, at this minute, at this second, the Batista guy said the thing, he moved his mouth just this way. It's just like if you watch this, you know what I mean? Like, I want to start getting into stuff like that, but at a certain point, it's like,
you just gotta watch it.
Feels like it's a bit much, but I feel like there's a certain point, especially if this series is successful and can be renewed and go on for a couple of years, it may be eventually worth bringing out a notepad and keeping track of the Easter eggs that you're seeing, because you guys are putting it together. Whoever this team is, I know we went over it in episode 1 a little bit who the team was.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's always incredible to see someone who takes over a project, and as you watch it, you realize they're more obsessed than you.
Well, they should be, yeah.
You want them to be, but they not always are, right?
But it's their creation, so they should be.
But you want them to be, but that doesn't mean they always are. And you watch things like Star Wars, different reboots, and you go, whoever put this together is not as passionate about Star Wars as I am, because they wouldn't have done this thing, right? Or obviously, as a big wrestling fan, you see a bunch of stuff come out, and you go, that person's here for the money. They're not here for the story. Like, there's different times you can tell that no matter what support you put in, the person on the other side is either not as keyed in as they should be to their audience or otherwise, right? But this is a team where you go, they're more obsessed than I am, and that makes this more fun to watch because I feel like I know I'm missing stuff that this team put together, and that's the cool part.
Yeah.
Because now I already want to rewatch a couple of the other episodes. We've watched 2 episodes. I want to rewatch them both already.
Yeah. I'm liking just seeing where it's going and not really having like I didn't read too much up on it to see what's actually going to happen or what do we think. Like I just kind of knew the general storyline, but it's just cool to kind of just watch and be in it.
Yeah.
And see what they're doing with it. Yeah,
the only thing I knew about it really, and we kind of, I guess I don't know what I've edited yet, but we talked about a little bit last one. It just seems to be like this is the journey to his first kill and him starting the job, which I do think that's episode 1.
Right.
And that's all I really know, and it's all I really need to know because I already know Dexter's life story, right? I know his adult story and his kid.
It's not just him starting as a serial killer, but really starting his career, starting his like ascent into society. Because before that, he was just this awkward, weird high schooler, right?
Yes. How are you going to succeed in society? But here's what you clicked in on. It was this is the start of his career, but that is a two-sided, same-sided coin, right? That is a two-headed coin,
right?
Of the Dark Passenger and his professional career. How is his life going to cater to his need to kill? And that's what we're seeing here. Both careers.
And also splashing that onto Harry. We see Harry struggling with that, secretly crying because he knows he is teaching Dexter a thing that cannot be undone. He's teaching him a thing that he may not be ethically okay with.
So we know that he was seemingly okay with the nurse. What's going to be insane is going to be watching the next few kills, and if Dexter keys him in, if he doesn't, how much does Harry know for how long? I'm fascinated on. Does he know that he kills everyone that he kills? Does Dexter tell him about all of them or only half of them? Like, I could see a lot of room for where is their bond gonna strain, right?
Yeah, right. Where is the conflict really gonna come to heads?
Maybe there never is a conflict between the two of them. Maybe it's always
at this point, right?
But yeah, I think that's gonna be a really cool dynamic to play out.
Yeah, this has been really enjoyable though. Like as a super fan, like I don't know how you can't be interested in continuing watching this.
It's been so many years since the last one too. I wonder how much stuff was, and this is just a production nerd thing. I wonder how much stuff was already there, was still available. How did they have to get anything new? Did they have to recreate anything? Did they have all the old stuff already ready to go? Did they want it to look like it looked like the first time around, or they want it to look a little bit newer because it's a newer job, right? It's younger. Those are the kind of things I do wonder about is how much of that set was recreated versus already still there and props and stuff like that. Because I think it's kind of cool, like just the ability to be able to do that. Because if they had to redo it, they spot on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
If it was still just sitting there, then there's also part of you that almost kind of like side eyes, like, you had this in mind, maybe? You didn't want to destroy it? I mean, because sometimes at the end of shows, they'll tear down stuff on purpose and people take stuff home, right? So, I don't know. That's just little production stuff that I've also been curious about that I was throwing out there. But
yeah, it seems to all flow really well. Just all the
Then they went into wardrobe and they had Batista's wardrobe and it was all still there.
And
the guy was like, can you just bring it in a little bit?
He still has the overall strappy things.
The overall straps. He's still got the same straw hats, the same shirts.
Goatee.
Same goatee. I hope to God that when they showed up, they're like, here's Batista's original wardrobe. He goes, don't change a thing, but bring it in a bit. I'm a little bit smaller than him. That's all I need is just bring it in.
And I like that they've actually really nailed home that, like, no, he's 20 because essentially we know that he's about, 7-8 years before he's, the first Dexter, right? Because I remember there was a court case where he had to testify, and he said, "Oh, I've been with the unit for about 7 years." And so when Batista takes him out and he says, "Oh, you can't drink yet, right?" He says, "Yep, nope, can't drink yet." So we're guessing that he's about 20. He's pre-med.
He's gotta be 20. I don't think it'd be a little weird to make him 19, but
right. But I do think that is a great sweet spot, because by the time we meet him in the first Dexter, he's late 20s, right? Barely dating Rita. Like it's all really flowing well.
Does he turn 30 in one of the episodes? Did they make a big deal of his birthday?
I
feel like they did. Or do you think he just had another birthday? I thought Deb made a big deal of him turning 30. I'd have to look. We'll have to check that out. We'll have to give that one in the next episode because we'll have to dig in. But I'm excited. I'm liking what we got so far. But was there anything else that you had about this episode? This is only episode 2.
Yeah, episode 2 is just rolling right through it, and it's a great start to where we're gonna go.
Yeah, I'm on board. As of record, we have one more episode to catch up. We're so far behind in catching up on anything that we don't even know what day it actually airs, so I couldn't tell you when the next one's going to be. But we're going to pop these out and get them done. But
yeah.
Outside of that, thanks for coming through, hanging out, having a drink, and killing it with us in this review pod.
All right, let us know what you think of this episode.
How?
Okay.
How are you gonna? You have to give them an ad. Maybe was there a way to do that? Could they? How would you? Where do you?
All right, never mind. Just edit that out.
I'm not editing it out. Okay, go to YouTube. I don't even know what the channel is as of this moment. You can find Instagram at WOTR the show. On Twitter, Wrestling on the Rocks on Instagram. You can always give us a DM if you want. I'm Rev Marsh at Marsh Ref. Whatever. Cheers.
It's Michelle.